Most people wake up defeated before their feet touch the floor. They reach for their phones like drowning men gasping for air, scrolling through manufactured urgency, letting the world flood their consciousness before they've even claimed it for themselves. And then they wonder why they feel powerless, why the day drags them rather than the other way around. Here's the uncomfortable truth. You cannot command your day if you surrender your morning to chaos. The Stoics understood something we've forgotten in our age of constant stimulation and reactive living. They knew that the first hour of waking is not just another hour. It's the architectural moment, the foundation upon which everything else is built. Marcus Aurelius, emperor of Rome, commander of legions, administrator of an empire that stretched across continents, did not begin his day by checking reports from the provinces or rushing to the Senate. He began in stillness, in preparation, in deliberate command of his own mind. Before he could rule an empire, he had to rule himself. Consider the paradox we live in. We have more convenience than any generation in human history, yet we feel more scattered, more anxious, more controlled by circumstances. We have alarm clocks and calendars and productivity apps, yet we stumble through our mornings like refugees fleeing from sleep into the chaos of obligation. The ancient Stoics had none of our technology, none of our comfort, yet they moved through their days with a centeredness we can barely imagine. What did they know that we've lost? They knew that morning is not preparation for life. Morning is life itself. Every dawn is a rehearsal for death, a reminder that time is the one currency we cannot earn back. When Marcus woke in his military tent on the cold frontiers of the empire, surrounded by the threat of war and the weight of impossible responsibility, he didn't waste that sacred hour. He fortified his mind. He reminded himself of what he could control and what he couldn't. He built the inner fortress that would carry him through whatever the day brought. We think we don't have time for this. We tell ourselves we're too busy, too burdened with responsibility. But busyness is often just fear dressed in urgency. It's easier to be swept along by external demands than to face the quiet discipline of claiming your own mind first. The undisciplined morning creates the chaotic day. The chaotic day creates the anxious life. And the anxious life, stretched across decades, becomes a kind of slow suffocation, a death by 1,000 surrenders to circumstance. Seneca wrote to his friend Lucilius about the theft of life, how we complain about its brevity while squandering it in careless fragments. The morning is where this theft occurs most violently. You give away your attention to notifications designed to hijack it. You give away your emotional state to news designed to enrage or frighten you. You give away your mental clarity to the demands of others before you've decided what demands you'll make of yourself. By the time you arrive at what you call your day, you're already depleted, already reactive, already playing defense. The Stoic morning ritual is not about productivity in the shallow sense we use that word now. It's not about squeezing more tasks into your calendar or becoming a more efficient machine. It's about sovereignty. It's about establishing, every single day, that your mind belongs to you, that your attention is yours to direct, that your inner state is not a hostage to external chaos. This is the difference between living and being lived through. What happens when you don't command your morning? You become a passenger in your own life. Someone else's priorities become your priorities. Someone else's emergencies become your emergencies. You spend your days reacting, responding, putting out fires, always behind, always catching up, never quite sure how you got here or where you're going. This is not living. This is drifting with purpose, sleepwalking with your eyes open. The Stoics practiced what they called premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of adversity. Before the day began, they would sit with the reality of what might go wrong, not to cultivate anxiety but to build immunity to it. Marcus would remind himself, Today I will meet people who are ungrateful, arrogant, deceitful, envious. They act this way because they don't know good from bad. But I know. I've seen the nature of good and the nature of evil. So how can they hurt me? How can they force me to react in ways I'll regret? They can't unless I allow it. This wasn't pessimism. This was preparation. This was sovereignty. By acknowledging the inevitable frustrations of the day before they arrived, he stripped them of their power to surprise and destabilize him. He built his calm in advance. While others would spend their days emotionally ambushed by minor inconveniences, Marcus moved through the same difficulties with equanimity, not because he was made of stone, but because he had prepared the ground of his consciousness. We avoid this kind of morning reflection because it feels uncomfortable. We'd rather stay in bed scrolling through other people's curated lives, numbing ourselves with the illusion that today will be different, that we'll magically have more energy, more focus, more control. But avoidance doesn't create peace. It creates fragility. The mind that refuses to contemplate difficulty is the mind that shatters when difficulty arrives. And difficulty always arrives. The Stoic morning begins with acknowledgement. You are mortal. You have finite time. Today might be your last day, and even if it isn't, it's one day closer. This isn't morbid. This is clarifying. When you start your day remembering that your time here is limited and precious, you stop wasting it on things that don't matter. You stop giving your emotional energy to trivialities. You stop letting other people's opinions shape your actions. Death, properly understood, is the greatest teacher of priority. Epictetus, who spent much of his life as a slave before becoming one of philosophy's great teachers, understood this with an intensity we comfortable people rarely achieve. He knew that freedom was not a matter of external circumstance. A slave could be free. An emperor could be enslaved. It all depended on where you placed your locus of control. If your peace depends on things you can't control, other people's behavior, outcomes, circumstances, you will never be at peace. But if you anchor your peace in what you alone control, your judgments, your reactions, your choices, you become unconquerable. This is the work of the morning. You remind yourself what is yours and what isn't. Your health isn't entirely yours. Your wealth isn't entirely yours. Your reputation isn't entirely yours. These things are on loan, subject to forces beyond your reach. But your character is yours. Your response to circumstances is yours. Your ability to choose your thoughts and align your actions with your values, these are the only things that truly belong to you. Everything else is rented. When you start your day with this clarity, something shifts. The urgency that usually drives your morning evaporates. Not because you become careless, but because you become discerning. You see through the manufactured crises that used to control you. That angry email doesn't need an immediate response. That social media controversy doesn't need your emotional energy. That person's disapproval doesn't need to reshape your self-worth. You've already decided what matters, so the noise can't penetrate. The untrained mind wakes up and immediately asks, "What do I have to do today?" The Stoic mind wakes up and asks, "Who do I want to be today?" This is the revolution hidden in the morning. When you shift from doing to being, from external achievement to internal alignment, you stop living at the mercy of circumstance. You become the circumstance. You become the calm in the storm, not by controlling the storm, but by mastering your response to it. Consider what your current morning reveals about your priorities. If you wake up and immediately consume content, you're declaring that other people's thoughts are more important than your own. If you wake up and immediately check your obligations, you're declaring that external demands define your worth. If you wake up and immediately reach for distraction, you're declaring that reality is too uncomfortable to face sober. None of this is conscious. None of this is chosen. But it's all revealing. The Stoic morning is an act of conscious choice. You decide, before the world makes demands, what kind of person you'll be when those demands come. You rehearse your values. You remember your principles. You build the internal structure that will hold you when external structures fail. This isn't about becoming rigid or cold. It's about becoming fluid and warm in the right ways, resilient where resilience matters, adaptable without losing yourself. So what does this ritual actually look like? How do you command your morning in practical terms? The Stoics were not theorists divorced from reality. They were practitioners who lived their philosophy through concrete actions. And their morning rituals, while simple, were transformative. First, you wake and you do not reach for stimulation. This is harder than it sounds in our dopamine-saturated world. The phone sitting on your nightstand is not a neutral tool. It's a portal to 1,000 manufactured urgencies, each one designed to capture your attention and hold it hostage. The first thing you touch shapes what you become. Touch chaos, become chaotic. Touch calm, become calm. For the first moments after waking, you remain with yourself. You feel the weight of your body, the rhythm of your breath, the quality of your mind before it's colonized by external input. Second, you rise with purpose, not with dread. The Stoics believed that how you approach the act of getting out of bed reveals how you approach life itself. Marcus wrote in his Meditations, "At dawn, when you have trouble getting out of bed, tell yourself, I have to go to work as a human being. What do I have to complain of if I'm going to do what I was born for?" This wasn't toxic positivity. This was a recognition that life itself is the gift, that having work to do, challenges to face, relationships to navigate, this is what it means to be alive. Resenting your day is resenting your life. Third, you establish your inner compass before the world tries to spin it. This is where the Stoics spent real time, not scrolling or consuming, but reflecting and preparing. You might sit in silence for 5 minutes or 30. You might write in a journal, capturing thoughts that would otherwise spiral uselessly through your mind all day. You might read a passage from a Stoic text, not for entertainment but for calibration, reminding yourself of principles that are easy to forget once the day's momentum builds. Marcus had his meditations, which were never meant for publication. They were his morning and evening dialogues with himself, his way of processing experience through the lens of philosophy. He would write things like, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." These weren't abstract ideals. These were reminders he needed, tools he sharpened daily to cut through the confusion and maintain his center. You might practice negative visualization, imagining the loss of what you value most. Not to create fear, but to create gratitude. The Stoics knew that we take everything for granted until it's gone. So each morning, they would contemplate, what if I lost my health today? What if I lost this relationship? What if this opportunity vanished? This practice doesn't make you paranoid. It makes you present. It reminds you that nothing is guaranteed, so you stop sleepwalking through your blessings. Fourth, you set your intention, not your goals. Goals are external and often beyond your full control. Intentions are internal and entirely within your power. You cannot control whether you close the deal, but you can control whether you act with integrity in the negotiation. You cannot control whether someone forgives you, but you can control whether you offer a genuine apology. You cannot control whether you succeed, but you can control whether you give your best effort. The Stoic focuses on the process, not the outcome, because only the process is truly theirs. This is where modern productivity culture misses the point entirely. We're obsessed with results, with metrics, with external validation. But all of that is outside our control. The Stoic asks, did I act according to my values today? Did I respond to difficulty with virtue? Did I maintain my composure when chaos arrived? These are the only measures that matter, because these are the only measures you can actually influence. Fifth, you move your body before your mind fully wakes. The Stoics understood the unity of mind and body. A stagnant body creates a stagnant mind. Whether it's a walk, a workout, or simple stretching, physical movement in the morning shakes off the psychological residue of sleep and prepares you for engagement. It's not about fitness in the aesthetic sense. It's about vitality, about reminding your organism that it's alive and capable. The tragedy is not that we don't know these things. The tragedy is that we know them and still surrender our mornings to chaos. We know that scrolling first thing fragments our attention. We do it anyway. We know that rushing creates anxiety. We do it anyway. We know that skipping reflection leaves us rudderless. We do it anyway. Why? Because discipline feels harder than drift. Because sovereignty feels heavier than submission. Because commanding your morning requires you to command yourself, and most of us have been taught to be subjects, not rulers, of our own lives. But here's what the Stoics understood that we must relearn. Freedom is not the absence of constraint. Freedom is the choice of which constraints you'll accept. You're going to be constrained either way. Either you'll be constrained by your own discipline, waking early, practicing reflection, building the internal architecture that lets you move through the world with purpose. Or you'll be constrained by chaos, by circumstances, by other people's agendas, by the slow accumulation of regret that comes from never quite living the life you intended. The choice is not between effort and ease. The choice is between the effort of self-mastery and the effort of cleaning up the consequences of having no mastery at all. One effort builds, the other depletes. One effort creates sovereignty, the other creates servitude. The Stoic chooses the effort that builds. When you command your morning, you're not just optimizing your schedule. You're making a philosophical statement about who you are and what you value. You're saying, I am not a passive receiver of whatever the world throws at me. I am an active agent in my own life. I choose my thoughts before they choose me. I direct my attention before it gets stolen. I establish my peace before circumstances try to shatter it. This is not easy. Nothing worth doing is easy. Marcus ruled an empire and still struggled to get out of bed some mornings. Epictetus taught philosophy and still had days when his mind wandered into useless worry. Seneca advised emperors and still caught himself wasting time on trivial resentments. The difference is that they noticed. They caught themselves. They returned to their practice. They didn't expect perfection. They expected effort. Your morning ritual doesn't have to be elaborate. It doesn't require an hour of meditation or a complex routine. It requires intention. It requires that you wake up and, for even 5 minutes, you pause. You breathe. You remember who you are and who you want to be. You acknowledge what you can control and release what you can't. You prepare your mind for the day ahead instead of letting the day ambush your unprepared mind. Start small if you must, but start. Tomorrow morning, before you reach for your phone, sit up and take 3 deep breaths. That's it. Just 3 breaths where you're fully present, where you're not consuming or producing, where you're just being. Feel how different that is from your usual frantic waking. Feel the space it creates. Then build from there. Add a minute of reflection. Add a short walk. Add a journal entry. The ritual grows naturally when you feel its benefits. The world will not reward you for this. Your boss won't praise you for your morning stoicism. Your social media won't explode with likes because you chose reflection over scrolling. The benefits are internal, which is why most people never discover them. We've been trained to seek external validation, external rewards. But the Stoic knows that the only reward that matters is the one that makes you more yourself, more aligned with your values, more capable of navigating life with grace. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "When you arise in the morning, think of what a precious privilege it is to be alive, to breathe, to think, to enjoy, to love." This is not naive optimism. This is hard-won wisdom from a man who faced plague, war, betrayal, and the weight of impossible responsibility. He knew that life was difficult. He knew that most days brought more problems than solutions. But he also knew that the act of living, of facing those difficulties with courage and wisdom, was itself the point. The morning ritual is where you remember this, where you reconnect with the fundamental privilege of being alive and capable of choice. If you seek to live with purpose rather than mere productivity, to lead your life rather than follow it, to maintain your calm in a world designed to shatter it, then begin with your morning. Command the first hour, and the rest will follow. Not perfectly, not easily, but meaningfully. The Stoic path is not about transcending your humanity. It's about fulfilling it, about becoming the kind of person who can stand in the chaos and remain unshaken, not because the chaos isn't real, but because you've built something real inside yourself that chaos cannot touch. Subscribe to this channel if you're walking this path with us. Each week we explore the practical wisdom of Stoic philosophy, not as ancient history, but as a living practice for the modern world. The journey to self-mastery begins with a single morning. Let tomorrow be that morning.